Have you ever wondered how many varieties of dogs there are?
Have you ever wondered how dogs have evolved throughout the years?
The dog, also known as a canine, is a four-legged mammal. Although that many members of the same species usually look alike, dogs do not. There are over 150 different breeds of dogs in the world. They breed during a process called artificial selection. This is when an organism is bred for a certain trait. This is why not all dogs look alike. This breeding technique gives them different traits which differ between different breeds of dogs. Some differ.
Besides different breeds, years ago dogs didn't really look how they are today. Dogs are carnivores, so their most likely common ancestor was a creature called Micus. Micus is a weasel-like creature that lived nearly 55 million years ago. As time passed, dogs evolved from a line of mammals called canids. Canids were known for the shape of their teeth. These more ancient dogs were very vicious. They were smaller than most modern dogs, probably faster, but they were very vicious. Besides these, dogs were also said to have descended from wolves as well.
Early domesticated dogs provided the early human with a guard dog, fur, and a source of food. At the time, the dog resembled a wolf. A wolf is called Canis lupus, which was another common ancestor for the modern day dog.
Here's some more background on the Canis lupus. Canis lupus, or gray wolf, is a four-legged mammal who is also a canid. It is cousins to the coyote and jackal. It is found mainly in North America, Eurasia, and North Africa. Eurasia being Europe and Asia combined.
A way that evolution is shown is by testing DNA, and that is what scientist named Charles Villa did. First, he proved that the wolf was for sure a common ancestor of the dog. Villa's team analyzed 162 different examples of wolf DNA from 27 populations in Europe, Asia, and North America. These results were compared with DNA from 140 individual dogs from 67 breeds gathered from around the world. Using blood or hair samples, DNA was compared between individuals.
Based on the information gathered by Charles, there was evidence that the wolf and the dog were once crossbred. Charles is still uncertain whether the wolf and the dog were crossbred through artificial selection or if it happened naturally out in the wild.
The most puzzling fact of the DNA evidence is that the variety in molecular distance between dogs and wolves seems more than 10,000 to 20,000 years assigned to domestication. Yet, the process of domestication by humans only came about later in this period in any case. Based upon the molecular clock studies conducted, it would seem that dogs separated from the wolf lineage about 100,000 years ago, while the fossil record lessens considerably beyond 14,000 years ago and ending 33,000 years ago. There are fossils of wolf bones in association with early humans from well beyond 10,000 years ago, a sign that we actually domesticated wolves before dogs came about.
As we mentioned before, dogs descended from wolves. This sets up another big question in the dog's evolution. How did man tame the dogs to how they are today? To answer this question is not completely certain, though. Many say that it is because wolf and man both hunted, and that is why they were able to get along so well. Man trained the wolves to be hunters.
Dogs and wolves are closely related, but their differences define them. Wolves remain wild creatures. They hunt and eat in packs and generally stay away from humans. But dogs can read a person's face and tone of voice. They are curious, social, and unafraid of humans. New genetic research highlights another crucial distinction between wolves and dogs: their diets. While wolves are exclusively carnivores, dogs can digest starches. This evolutionary change may be one of the critical steps that brought dogs out of the wilderness and into our homes.
So dogs eat a very different diet than wolves. Wolves are carnivores and dogs eat almost anything. And this could have a lot to do with dog domestication. We can speculate that dogs domesticated themselves by coming and starting to eat from the scrap heaps left by humans as we got to start agriculture.
In a paper published this week in Nature, Kerstin Lindblad and her colleagues described the results of looking across the full genomes of dogs and wolves to pinpoint regions that separate the two species. The researchers used two approaches to find telltale signs of evolution, narrowing in on regions that likely represent targets of selection during dog domestication. Many of these regions harbor genes that play key roles in the digestion of starches. Lindblad and her colleagues put these genes to the test, determining that these genes contribute to a more efficient breakdown of complex starches in dogs.
So there are 3 steps in sugar metabolism. Starch, as you eat it, is first broken down by amylase and then by maltase, and after that the sugar is absorbed through the wall of the gut. We see very clearly in the dog's genome that all 3 steps have been affected by selection, so that starch metabolism can happen much more effectively in the dog than in the wolf.
The ability to thrive on a starch-rich diet may have helped dogs fill a new niche. As human beings transitioned from a nomadic lifestyle to one based around agriculture and settlements, dogs may have been drawn to scrap heaps with humans throughout their garbage. Animals that could scavenge these piles may have had a unique advantage over others, an advantage that would have drawn them into close contact with people.
So we see this striking path of parallel evolution between dogs and people. When the agricultural revolution started, one of the major adaptive needs for both dogs and humans may have been to eat more starch.
In addition to giving us a deeper understanding of our intertwined history with canines, the new work also has important implications for studying human disease. Many dog breeds get the same kinds of diseases that humans do, including diabetes.
So learning about dogs and their history is of course a lot of fun, and it shows how dogs are coupled to people. But what's really important is that the genetic changes in the dog's genome are amplified so that we can find them crisp and clear. And many of these variants that we are finding, many of the changes, can have a big impact on health in dogs, but also on human health and help us understand human disease.